As the sun comes up, workers are conducting odor surveys at Juniper Ridge, making sure odor is contained and the site is ready for a full day of activity.
Juniper Ridge, how may I help you? You're all set.
Juniper Ridge is operated by Casella Waste Systems, but is owned by the state of Maine. Because of that, only in-state material is accepted at the landfill, and there are multiple safeguards in place to make sure that criteria is met.
If it's a special waste that requires a profile form, they're required to certify as to where the material comes from, who's generating the material, and what type of material it is. The truck drivers are required to sign a manifest that certifies that the material is generated in the state of Maine, and what they're certifying is true and accurate and is punishable by law.
Stringent testing requirements are also in place to ensure loads are non-hazardous and suitable for landfill disposal.
A lot of the waste that comes in the site is required by the DEP and EPA to be tested prior to acceptance on site. Things like wastewater treatment plant sludges, ashes, special wastes are required to be tested by a laboratory prior to being acceptable here.
Once trucks make their way to the active cell, the waste is offloaded into 2-foot lifts, then compressed by a 126,000-pound compacting machine. Multiple passes are made for maximum compaction. The waste is then covered with a special mix of wood fines, incinerator ash, and mill lime to keep down odor. Any litter that escapes due to high winds is collected by workers and placed back in the active cell. As waste accumulates in the landfill, piping is placed every 40 feet of elevation to capture gas and move it to a flare where it's burned off. That process means cleaner air for nearby communities.
The team here is dedicated to controlling emissions, so they design the facility in a way that captures as much gas as possible. And the way they do that is they roll down the plastic cap, and they put in horizontal and vertical wells to collect the gas. They tune that system constantly. So you're going to see when you lower the methane emissions, you also lower all the other emissions that are associated with landfill gas. So it improves the local air quality and it improves the odors.
Those continuous efforts have paid off, according to statistics kept by the Environmental Protection Agency.
Looking at the EPA data, we see that Juniper Ridge has among the lowest emission rates in all of the Northeast. So looking at all the disposal facilities throughout Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, and Massachusetts, it's among the best emission rates in the Northeast.
The piping used to capture that gas and move leachate to storage tanks are fused together in-house. Pipe fitters grind the edges of the pipe, then, using a fusion machine, place a heat plate between the sections to be joined. Each pipe size requires a certain fusing pressure to make sure the seams are solid and can stand up to use in the landfill.
These fuses are stronger than the pipe itself. I went to school for putting this pipe together and we did pressure tests on them, and the pipe always broke somewhere else other than the fusion.
Those fusions also make a difference when it comes to gas emissions.
We've got this place so tight that if we want to, we could get this down to 0.1% oxygen at the flare because we are so tight in our fusions.
Fused pipes are hauled to active cells for installation, and crews can repair on-site with a mobile unit. Pipes are scraped by hand, and couplings with copper wire inside are placed on the sections and then heated. That electrofusion process allows a quick response to any problems that may arise. Equipment maintenance is also done in-house. Mechanics can rebuild major components of heavy machines in the shop and conduct repairs on-site if needed. All work done in-house allows timely response to problems and maximizes the efficiency of operations. Automation also plays a big role when it comes to keeping things running smoothly at Juniper Ridge. Fiber optic cables carry data from each landfill system, providing a very timely and accurate measure of activities.
If we need to make adjustments to the leachate collection pumps during a rain event, or view how much leachate is being accumulated in the leachate tank, we can view that, change pump settings. Also, if there's odor, we can view wind direction. We can see if there's any hits on the H2S monitors.
This technology also allows workers to monitor and adjust systems remotely on and off-site. Though efficiency is important at the facility, protecting the environment is a high priority at Juniper Ridge. The facility is heavily regulated, but daily operations are guided by more than that.
Safety, environment, those are our two big issues here. Everybody here on staff understands that. We work very diligently to make sure that we stay within those regulations or exceed the regulation.
Ongoing water testing and monitoring at the facility is key to protecting the environment. Each cell at the landfill has a drain pipe located below the specially designed liner systems. That underdrain is tested constantly to make sure no pollutants are getting through.
It's the first line of defense for the liner system. Obviously, the liner system is designed not to fail and not to leak, but if ever happened to, we see it first in the underdrain system, and so therefore testing the underdrain system is one of the highest priorities of water quality testing that we have on site.
Groundwater, surface, and stormwater samples are also drawn and tested for pH, conductivity, dissolved oxygen, and alkalinity. Those samples are then sent to an independent lab in Yarmouth, Maine, and tested for heavy metals and nitrates. Sampling is done monthly by Casella and backed up by a third party.
The amount of sampling up here is really tremendous. Our company, CV Mahar, is up here 3 times a year. There's many samples all around the landfill. Groundwater, surface water, under drains, a ton of sampling, and that's what keeps the landfill safe and sound.
Air quality is also a priority at Juniper Ridge. Trucks carrying odoriferous loads are sprayed entering and exiting the landfill, and deodorizers are dispensed in active cells to help reduce odor. Hydrogen sulfide monitors are placed at 6 locations a half-mile away from the landfill to detect gas levels.
Those meters monitor every 15 minutes, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So it's a good indication if we're doing our job correctly here or not.
Gas sampling is done to ensure state air quality requirements are being met. TRS, or Total Reduced Sulfur Sampling, is done twice a month and involves collecting gas bags and sending them to the University of Maine lab for testing.
Once we have the bag samples, we bring them out to the university and they look at the different compositions of the gas, and they also look at the sulfur content to make sure that we're passing our emissions for our air license.
Every step taken at Juniper Ridge is aimed at accomplishing one goal: safely disposing waste for all 16 Maine counties while protecting the environment and continuing efforts to be a good neighbor to nearby communities.
We have an outstanding staff. We have a highly trained staff. They're dedicated. They work hard every day to make sure that this facility works.
That a lot of engineers working on this landfill, a lot of time, money, building a clean, efficient landfill.
I have full confidence in our team. We have a really good team from the waste acceptance side of things all the way to the waste placement.
Everybody here takes a lot of pride in what they do.
This is our house, you know, so they're dependent on us and we get it done for them.
I'm doing this as much for everybody in the local community as I am for myself, you know. I want to make sure that it gets done right.
I really work to recycle everything I can and reduce my waste, but to the extent that I still do put my trash can out from time to time, it makes me feel good to know that it's coming to a facility like this with a team of people operating it that really cares about doing the right thing.